Get higher, baby. Get higher, baby. Get higher, girl. Hey.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Hopefully, welcome back to Knights of the Pageless Library. I am Bo Knight, and I am actually sitting next to Ryan Knight. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great.
So, go ahead.
Well, we're doing things a little bit differently right now because it's the holidays, and Bo is actually home for the holidays, so we're changing our setup a little bit. I actually have video recording of this one too. It may or may not get posted on YouTube. We'll see. But so if anybody notices the audio difference, that is why, because we're trying a couple different things out for capturing.
Yeah, and we're just trying to keep getting an episode out a week, so we're kind of doing whatever we have to right now because things are a little different when I'm home. I don't have access to all my equipment, so hopefully this is okay and it doesn't infuriate all of you guys, or maybe it does.
All four of you.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, so I guess today we're just doing a round table, yeah?
Yeah.
We were going to try and sit around an actual round table, but that just wasn't working out.
Yeah, the fireplace is really hot.
Yeah. Even though it's only about 20 degrees outside, it's about 75 in my house, and it's way too hot. So.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot to make me sweat.
Exactly. Yeah, so if this video gets posted, I don't know if you guys can see both of us in this.
Should be able to.
We're mostly just using it to pick up backup audio just in case, so, and then I will try to use whatever audio sounds better to post it online. And until we get a better grip on how to do things, this is just going to have to be good enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, and luckily this will only be about a month of episodes, so there really should only be about 4 that are like this. So, like, if you just want to take a little break from Knights of the Pageless Library, I understand if it's that bad. But hopefully there will at least be something for you to listen to if you would like to.
Yeah, and if anybody has any suggestions, please email us, kotpl.pod@gmail.com, and we will gladly consider all options, because right now we really have no idea what we're doing.
I haven't checked the email in a while, have you?
No, it's been a few, maybe about a week, so it's possibly there's something sitting in there, but...
Yeah, there might be. I usually am pretty diligent about checking it, but I haven't had access to my computer.
Yeah, still waiting on our first piece of hate mail.
Or any... Well, so we've had a couple mail, I guess.
Yeah, we've gotten a couple emails, and the YouTube comments as well. That stuff's great. That's a good place to contact us, and Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. So,
yeah. So I want to talk about flying a little bit, just because I feel like it's probably maybe I have a different experience just because I flew on Thanksgiving, and that like adds probably a lot to it. But like the airport was like empty, and it was kind of nice.
That was probably great.
Even in the Denver airport, I was able to walk right up to security, not waiting in line. Which was nice.
Yeah, okay, that's a big difference then. Because when I just went through there, a week before you, I probably waited in the security line for 10 minutes before I could
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's still not that bad. 10 minutes is not that bad. Sometimes it'll be hours.
Yeah. I just hate going to the airport.
Me too. It gives me so much anxiety. I don't know why. It's the one time in my life it makes me feel like a terrorist, and I've never done anything like that in my life.
No, seriously, because you're like, anything you do, you're like, could someone be watching me and consider this, You set your backpack down and you go to get in it, and it's like you're waiting for someone to be like, "Freeze, scumbag!" Like,
he's going in. Get him.
Seriously, man, it stresses me out every time I fly, and I cannot. I hate flying with a passion.
Me too. It always gives me so much anxiety, and it doesn't matter how much time I have. I want to be sitting right in front of my gate. Like I need to be waiting.
I'll sit in front of the gate for 2 hours.
Me too.
Rather than
not even
wandering.
move.
Yeah, same. You said you had an actual pleasant flight experience.
Yeah, it was kind of nice. Like, I sat in a row completely by myself. Like, there was nobody next to me. The first flight, there was people in front of me, but nobody behind me.
Oh, wow.
And the second flight, they actually upgraded me to first class, I guess, because the plane was a little too full, so they had to shift people around.
Dang,
and so I got to sit
lucky.
in first class, which was really nice.
Dang.
I just slept the whole time, but the
still.
second the plane took off, I was asleep.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the first time I've had that. It was kind of nice. It was only an hour flight, but still, just lived the high life for a couple minutes.
Yeah, for a few minutes. Well, and even an hour-long flight is so short that it's like, you get up to where it's like, it dings, captain has turned the seatbelt light off, and then like 10 minutes later it dings, we're preparing to start our descent.
And it's interesting too that they don't bring the drink cart. They just like hand you, at least on Delta anyway. They just had like snack bags that they would give you. It had like Cheez-Its, a little water bottle, and some crackers in it. Instead of like actually getting to choose what you drink, which is I don't know. Maybe it's been like that for a long time and I just didn't know.
Well, I wouldn't know either. I've only flown a few times recently in the past couple months. I did fly with Southwest though a while back, and Southwest they don't give you a seat assignment.
Right, you just like go in. It's like first come first serve, right?
Yeah, so they told us, they said just go pick a seat, leaving the middle open, you know,
Right,
not the aisle but the middle seat. Well, this one kid, he's like halfway down the plane. He gets in the seat and then he just lays across all three so no one could sit next to him.
Huh.
I was like,
I
you
didn't know you could do that.
dirtbag. Well, whether you could or not, he did it. Yeah, I've had some, even only having a few recent flying experiences, they've been not very pleasant.
I feel like it just brings out the worst in everybody. Like, everybody's only worried about themselves in that situation, which I totally understand. But it's like everybody's a jerk.
They are too, man. This last flight I was on, there was only 2 seats per row, and it was full, which pissed me off because you'd think they would only put half the people,
Right.
but apparently they got to make some money back now. And the lady told us, they were like, we're going to be boarding from the back to the front. She said, so wait until I call your row, and then you can board. Well, so she called like anyone who's handicapped or needs help.
Yeah.
So they push some guy up there in a wheelchair. Great. This other couple just walks right in.
Yeah.
And then I get on and I see that there's like scattered people already seated throughout the plane. And I was like, you freaking dirtbags.
Nobody
Like,
knows how to listen.
yeah. And then when we were getting off the plane, she said, I will call you by rows from the front to the back
Right.
to debark. And they said, when the plane stops, please remain seated until I call your row. Plane stops, ding, seatbelt light. Everybody just like stands up. I'm like, he's so dumb. It was painful.
Yeah, everybody's always in a hurry. That's what I hate about airports.
Yeah, but the problem is people don't think about it. You're in a hurry to then go stand behind someone else.
Yeah.
You're not getting anywhere when you try to pile up at the door
No,
and get off the
You're
plane.
saving yourself a couple seconds.
If even. It's kind of like when people are driving and they're like weaving in and out of traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're not saving any time.
That's something else I wanted to talk about. Like, what's the deal with people on the freeway driving exclusively in the left-hand lane? I don't understand that.
I don't know. There are some cities, like Chico, California, when you are going through the city, it specifically says through traffic, merge left.
Interesting.
So you stay in that left-hand lane, and it makes a lot of sense actually,
that
because
doesn't
then,
make sense.
well, because then you're not in the way of people trying to
Yeah.
get off or get on. And
Yeah.
to me, it makes a lot of sense actually. I've always wondered why they don't like through cities. I mean, you'd have to go back and redesign cities from the ground up. But I always thought it'd be nice if you had 2 lanes and then a barrier and then another 2 lanes. And when you first come into the city, it specifically tells you through traffic, stay left.
Keeps you out of everything.
Yeah, so if you just want to go straight through the city, you would just stay in those left 2 lanes and you would just right through the city. And then the other 2 lanes would be specifically for people who need to get on and off throughout the city.
And I've heard that a lot of the time the traffic is so bad in the cities, it's just because the cities have gotten bigger than they can have the roads for. Like, they didn't plan for all of that.
I believe that, yeah.
And, like, you can't, a lot of the time, you can't just, like, put a new lane on a freeway because there's stuff on both sides.
There's
Like, you
already
have to demolish
buildings.
stuff.
Yep, there's already buildings up to both
And, like
sides.
so the infrastructure really can't carry as many people as we stuff into these cities.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Plus, people are dumb.
True.
So, like, at rush hour, you know, even though you have the lights that are supposed to keep you gapped out when you're getting on,
Oh, yeah, people
nobody
don't care.
follows them.
They just run them.
And so then nobody on the freeway wants to stay gapped out to let those people in.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if people follow those simple instructions, stay gapped out on the road, stay gapped out when you're getting on, you would just zipper merge like
Yeah,
you're
you
supposed to,
would.
and nobody would ever have to stop. But people always want to like box out the next car.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't want to be one car further away from
Yeah,
home,
it's like,
as
what?
if yeah, as if it's gonna.
I always try and let at least one person in.
Yeah, that's what I try to do. I let one person in, and then I box out the next person because I'm like, no, then now you go behind me.
Yeah,
It's so
exactly.
simple. Like,
Oh, I had something else I wanted to say, but I forgot. I was talking about traffic. Oh no, I don't remember.
I don't know. All the cities nowadays end up looking like my city's skyline cities.
Yeah, same here.
Even though when I plan it out, I'm like, I got this one's perfect. Next thing I know, I clicked a little button that shows you traffic, and there's like one road. Everybody's just
Yeah,
like,
that's- The thing about city skylines, though, is I feel like the traffic doesn't utilize all the lanes. Like, you can have, like,
It
8
doesn't.
lanes coming in and 8 lanes coming out, and you zoom in and they're all in one lane for some
Yeah.
reason. That doesn't make any sense.
No, and I've downloaded several different mods that are supposed to fix that, and it doesn't ever seem to fix it, and I don't really know why.
That did just come out with a new DLC not that long ago. I can't remember what it was called.
The Sunset Harbor one?
Yeah.
I got that one.
Yeah, what's in it?
It has like a fishing industry.
I thought that was already a thing.
No.
You could have, well, I guess you could do shipping with ocean stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've had that before.
Now you have actual fishing industry, and there was something else too. It expanded on, I think it expanded on like the industry, the actual industries ones, like the forestry and
Mhm.
the farming and stuff, made them a little bit better. Still a great game.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a nice relaxing one to sit down and just
however
build a
many-
little city.
Yeah, however many years later, it's actually still a really good game.
Yeah, I like me a nice little city builder. Frostpunk, it's too hard, man.
Oh, yeah, you ain't lying. I haven't even turned that one back on since I lost again.
I know, I played it a little bit and I was like, ugh, this game's so hard.
Yeah, it's like painfully hard. Well, it almost goes along with like what we always talk about with Dark Souls. Like people just assume Dark Souls is good because it's hard. It's like
That's
no,
not the
that's
point.
not the point of Dark Souls. Like, and I feel like that Frostpunk turned that shit up to 11 because they were like, "Ooh, you want a challenge?
Yeah.
We'll just force you to have a challenge." Because a lot of that stuff, it's not even your fault. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I get it, it's part of the storyline, because I'm sure if you did just like a free play, you'd probably do fine. But the story, when it's like, oh, you know, you discovered that whatever, that other city is gone, so your stuff that's like your
You have
unrest or whatever,
yeah,
they
hopes
just
and
like
unrest.
switch places, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I have one like full and one empty, and it's
Me
just
too.
like, bloop, and I'm like, that's not fair. Like,
It's not fair.
because I didn't do anything, you know, that wasn't my fault. I didn't screw that up. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's, like, necessarily the best way to handle difficulty curves.
I mean, it's a pretty loved game.
It is good, and it looks amazing.
It does look cool. The
I
snow's
mean,
cool.
Yeah, it is a good game, but... Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. Switching gears super fast here. Last time we tried recording, you started to say something to me about Consuela getting COVID.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what Dad was telling me, that she went in to get an elective surgery, and they tested her, and she tested positive, and she'd been around nobody but Irv. So that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, because
Like, how could she have gotten it?
See, if that's the case, this whole thing is a joke. Because, so, for anybody who doesn't know, without getting too detailed, the people we're talking about, they literally live like out in the middle of the woods, and they're around hardly anybody.
They're off the grid even. They have their
Yes.
own power, all
Yeah.
of this stuff. They don't, on a normal day, they would talk to no one.
Right.
And
So-
that doesn't make any sense. How could she have gotten COVID? It doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know. See, and I still am so... Which, by the way, for anybody listening, when we started talking about this last time, as soon as we mentioned the word COVID,
Yeah, the internet
Bo's
went out.
internet
dude.
cut out.
I forgot about that. I didn't even
Yeah.
think about that.
So, what, you know, for conspiracy theorists, let's stoke this fire a little bit here.
Some guy's just sitting at a switchboard. He's like, "Shut it down."
Yeah. This is- I heard it. I heard COVID. Shut it down. Yep. Shut it
They're
down.
onto us.
No, so let's stoke that conspiracy fire a little bit though, because something I've been saying. So everybody knows most places are going back into lockdown and stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like Denver might be locking all the way down by the time I get back.
Oregon's kind of doing that too.
Mhm.
So, but what upsets me is because Caitlin was telling me like, oh, the numbers now are like higher than they've ever been. And I'm like, yeah, but the numbers aren't what's important. It's how deadly is this thing actually? Because you see these numbers and it's like cases, deaths.
Yeah.
So it's like, so is it really as deadly as we're being told? I read this thing on Reddit one time. Well, it might not have been on Reddit. Anyways, I read this thing and it was like, how deadly is a disease that you have to get a test to even know if you have it?
That's a good point.
Like,
Well, and I read too that like, say you go in and they give you a COVID test and you test positive, but you're in the hospital for leukemia and you die from leukemia, they're going to attribute that
they're
to
going to
COVID.
say it was a COVID death. Exactly.
Yeah, you could get in a horrible car crash and they test you for COVID and you have it and you die from like blood loss and they would attribute it to COVID. So who knows even those deaths if they really should even be attributed to COVID. And
Right.
supposedly hospitals get paid more money the more COVID
For a
deaths they
COVID
have.
patient. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
And that's been happening from the beginning.
yeah.
I even read this article a long time ago about the middle of this that supposedly some guy got like really sick. He was like in his early 30s. He started feeling really sick. Went in to get a COVID test. They like admitted him because he was having like really something was wrong with like his insides basically, and tested him for COVID. While he's waiting on his test, he ends up dying a couple days later. And they were like, "You have COVID for sure." Oh, that's what it was. They didn't admit him. They sent him home. They just said, "You have COVID.
you can't come in.
You need to go back home and wait it out." Well, he ends up dying. They put on his death certificate COVID because they were convinced it was COVID. Test comes back negative.
Oh my god.
They don't change any of it. They still said, nope, it was a COVID death. And I'm like, what is happening? They did not test him. They refused to do an autopsy on him. At the family's request, they still refused to do an autopsy. And I'm just like, what does this come down to? Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. When does it all end? It's almost been a year.
I know. That's why, like I was telling you, the Spanish flu, supposedly, that it was like 3 years before they...
talking about that.
I don't know, before they quit saying that it's a big deal. Like, I guess they got enough herd immunity that it stomped it out. I'm not really sure.
Me neither. Like, where is all this going?
But all I know is at one point the Spanish flu was so bad that, like I told you, that you would come in, you'd be showing signs, then, like, within a few hours, you're freaking hacking up blood, your freaking eyes are bleeding,
Yeah, I remember you
your
saying
skin
the eyes are
turns
bleeding.
blue, and you die.
The
Like,
eyes
that
bleeding
was
is crazy
that
to
is
me.
bad, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore, or like where this is going, or why.
Same. I don't know. It just, the whole thing has bothered me from the beginning, and this, us going back into lockdown right before the holidays, like, go figure. And right now it's super sad because it's just encouraging even more consumerism, because you get on websites that are doing Black Friday sales or Cyber Monday, everything's sold out,
Yeah.
which means people are just sitting on their computer and spending money that they don't have because they've been sitting at home not working. Like, it's just crazy.
I know. I've been trying to find a Nintendo Switch for a couple months and I can't find one.
Really?
Yeah, I can't find one
Wow.
anywhere.
Yeah, it's because people have been buying them so they can sit at
Like-
home and play.
Like if you even look on Amazon, and then mind you, the Switch is like 2 years old.
Yeah,
they're
Switch
selling
is-
them for like $500.
Oh.
You know what? I want to talk about the PlayStation 5 for a minute.
Okay.
Just because it was the best launch Sony's ever had. They sold the most systems. Isn't that that's kind of interesting?
That
right?
really surprises me, actually.
But you want to know what's even more interesting is there's less people online on the PlayStation 5 than there were when the PlayStation 4 came out. So that means that scalpers are just buying up as many as they can get their hands on.
To
Is all
resell
it
them.
needs. Yeah.
Ugh. Scumbags.
So I mean, it's really good for Sony, but it's bad for like
Consumer.
the consumer because
Yeah.
like supposedly nobody has one, but I've seen pictures of people with like 200 that just
'Cause
bought
they
up
just
as many
bought
as
them
they
all
could.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now they'll turn around and sell them
For
for
like
profit.
double, triple.
Yeah, that's so scumbag.
Yeah, it is super scumbag. And it's just ridiculous they let stuff like that happen.
Well, yeah, you'd think they would put like a 3 per customer limit or something
Just
like that.
one. Like, how hard is it? I don't know. Like, it even took us a while to find PS4s. Like, we didn't get them right away.
No, Caitlin ended up buying me one for like Christmas the following year, or my
Yeah.
birthday or something the following. No, it was probably.
Mom and Dad, I think, found them that one time.
It was probably my birthday of the following year and she gave it to me slightly early, but because I'm sure the PS4 probably launched around like, that's normal launch time,
Yeah, it's
November,
about
December.
yeah.
So it was probably for my birthday of the following year that I got that. People are just scumbags, man. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and this guy was talking about like libertarianism, and how he thinks it would be a good way to change things by having very little government involvement, which I tend to agree with. But where I differ from this guy is he was saying once you get to a level where people are sort of self-governing, because his idea would be to take it away from the federal level and go down to the state level. And then eventually from the state to the county, from the county to the city, and then eventually from city to community level governing. You govern yourselves. And he thinks once you get to that level, there will be very little need for certain federal institutions like even like police and stuff like that. I differ with him on that though,
I don't know about
because
that,
I'm like, dude, no. People, there's so many dirtbags out there that, and I understand he's not talking like, oh, we're gonna do it tomorrow. He's talking over a long, long period of time. You'd have to slowly transition, but I still think there's so many freaking dirtbags out there that it would just be almost impossible to. You'd have to have maybe instead of having the like a federal police force, you'd still have to have private security firms. You'd have to.
Yeah, but then who's actually taking the, like, who says what's right and wrong in that situation? Like, if you could just pay for your own cops, that's insane.
Well, I mean,
I don't like that man. Beat him up.
well, and that's kind of where I differ with this guy too, because you have to have some sort of institutions in place, like a judicial thing. Exactly, because otherwise, if I'm just like, I go up to our, say, like my community, we have our own little police force. Maybe it's just like 6 dudes who watch over my area. And I'm like, my neighbor stole my stuff. And they're like, do you have any proof? I'm like, yeah, it's sitting in front of his house. Well, how do they know I didn't just go walk
Yeah.
over and set my thing there because I don't like him and tell them, hey, he stole this? Like, you know, there would be, if there's no fair trial, there would still have to be some sort of like trial.
Yeah,
Although-
not that our justice system is perfect.
Oh, no, not by a long
far
shot.
from perfect, but
But this guy made a good point. He said, what did he say? He would like to see things change from punishment to, what was it? Punishment to, I can't remember the exact wording he used. But it kind of made sense, actually.
like reform people.
In a way, he said something. I think he said justice. That's exactly the words he used, from punishment to justice. And the way he portrayed it is so like if somebody stole something of yours,
Mm-hmm.
instead of the police locking that guy up now and just, you know, that's his punishment. Instead, they just go, take my shit and give it back to me. That's justice served, right?
Right.
It was unlawfully taken from me, or it was he didn't use like words like constitutional or anything. He was actually really good about he's basically taking something of mine. He's taking my right to this thing that was mine. He stole it from me. So this guy, in this guy's mind, justice is then, well, steal it back from him and get it back. It's mine. Like,
Right.
I'm like, man, I don't hate that idea. Like, that's not a terrible idea.
Justice.
Yeah, or he was like, oh, so which obviously there would have to be there's got to be a fine line with that, because if some dude walks up and shoots another dude, what are you supposed to shoot him back? Let me just get my gun out real quick and shoot you back. Come on, man, it's justice. Hold still. Let me shoot you back. Like,
Well, that's more like an eye for an eye, right?
yeah. Which I tend to agree with. Like, yeah, unless you freaking go around and like if you stole somebody's shit and they can just, if they catch you with it and they just say, give it back, and you give it back, okay, you know, no harm, no foul. But if you, like, break into somebody's house and you wreck all his shit and stuff, like, I don't know what what's the consequence for that? Well, now he gets to go into your house and wreck
Break
your
your
shit. Yeah, like, which, I mean, I guess, but I don't know. It was a pretty good podcast though, and the guy was actually very knowledgeable on stuff. And the host the host was digging at it because he's like, okay, well, what about? Because the guy who was being interviewed wanted to take away the patent system
Okay.
because, and the host was not happy about that. He was like, don't you think if somebody worked for like the last 10 years, you know, and they worked really hard to improve something, that they should get the credit for it and they should get the money for it? And that guy actually came back with a great point. He said, actually, the way it is now is that's extremely selfish. You think because you came up with something better that you should get all the credit and all the money for it, when in reality you should be thinking about bettering everything as the whole. Like,
right. But I feel like our system doesn't work that way. It doesn't work for you don't get anything when you better the whole. Like, it's all
right.
as far as like capitalism goes, you're only incentivized to make all the money for yourself.
Correct. And that's why he also thinks that obviously the capitalism system is not working the way it is.
Well, it's clearly not. I mean,
he thinks, he's like, he 100% agrees that we would have like flying cars right now if it weren't for the systems we have in place. He said because all it does is slow, it slows ideas down. And I tend to agree with him because the host was saying like, well, what if somebody invents, you know, they invented a better mousetrap. They spent 10 years of their life, you know, they did all these things and they invented a better one. And the guy he was interviewing didn't hit on it, but the first thing I thought was, well, if the system truly worked the way it's supposed to work, then the guy who invented the first mousetrap wouldn't allow the guy to improve on his mousetrap afterwards.
right.
Because it would be his. It's my mousetrap. None of you guys can do it. But the guy did say, he's like, how do you think things would have turned out if the first caveman who invented the wheel was like, I'm the only one who can have a wheel with cart. Only me. None of you can do it. He's like, where would we be today? But instead, he was like, I invented this wheel. Check this out. We can all use this thing to do things better.
Yeah, or people just copied him.
Yeah, or that my own wheel. This idiot used a rock. I'm going to use a piece of wood. I'm just going to hollow out the middle of this tree trunk. Like, I don't know. It was an interesting thought, though, that, like, I do think things could be improved, though, if we weren't so selfish with a lot of ideas.
They definitely could, but I feel like human, like, perception of what is good and what's bad needs to change. Like,
because it's very subjective.
Right. But, like, if there was more of a sense of community, like, oh, I'm helping my fellow man instead of I'm getting ahead.
Instead of what can I benefit from?
Yeah. Like, there's not a lot of incentive to help other people, and it's like,
right.
And it seems like when I do help other people, that's just what they come to expect, and it gets kind of old, especially when people don't reciprocate.
Well, and that's just it, like, because I'm all for like the idea of like communal living and community working together, and the host of that podcast talks about like the way especially consumerism is, you know, like I have a tractor, that guy has a tractor, those people have a tractor, and my other neighbor, we all have like the same tractor, same size, same color, everything. He's like, why wouldn't you just have one
tractor for everyone?
Exactly, and then you all share it. But then I'm like, because if that guy breaks it and I have to fix it, or if I break it and now he feels like he has to fix it, like then the balance is upset. Whereas if we all just have our own and we all just, because like, and my neighborhood's good because if if I was gone, the one time it snowed in really bad, well, I only have a plow and Caitlin didn't want to use the tractor, so my neighbor down there came in with his snow blower and blew out my driveway. So we sort of have much more community in smaller areas like this than like in probably where you live.
Oh, for sure.
If you were stuck in your driveway, people would just be driving by like
piling snow on my car.
Pushing, they'd shovel it out of their driveway into yours. Like,
yeah, it's just a whole different mentality.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of neighbors, you see, you probably didn't notice, they sold a lot across the street. Well, we think they sold it. He split it into 2 lots, and they have stakes out there. But we don't know if he sold it or if he staked it off as like a proposal. Like, this would be a
Okay.
good spot to put your house. This would be, because he has like, it looks like a driveway staked off, and then like a square staked off for where the house would be. So we don't know if that's somebody's plan, or if the guy who's selling it is trying to have that as his proposal. But so hooray, I'll have more neighbors, yay.
You're still pretty secluded out here.
I know. Until somebody builds on that lot back there,
Yeah, that's true.
which we're really hoping they don't.
It could be worse.
It could be way worse, yeah. It could be better, but
It's funny to me how much better I've been sleeping because it's so quiet.
oh, I bet, dude.
It's
I don't even know
insanely
how you
quiet.
sleep in the city, man. I told you
Oh,
I
I
was
just
renting.
figured it out.
Dude, I was renting that place downtown. I slept so bad for like 8 nights. Even when I had my headphones in, I had my sleep mask on, I slept so bad. I just couldn't do it because I'm used to this, man. It's like dead quiet out here.
Yeah, it's nice. It's so nice. There's not constant sirens blaring.
Exactly. And it's weird to me, yeah. Which, don't get me wrong, people who live in the city, you can stay there for sure. But I'm just saying, I am not one of those people. I like my quiet. I like, I don't like being around a ton of other people.
Yeah, I get that too. It can be a lot. It's been nice to be home. I've only been home for a couple days. It's
Yeah,
been
and then
nice.
what did you do? Turn right around after you got home and go visit Taylor?
Yeah. I'm trying to get that wedding figured out.
That's what I thought. Maybe you were helping him out.
Still don't know what's going on. It's kind of
Oh,
frustrating.
really?
Yeah.
Thought you said he had it all figured out.
He doesn't.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. We'll see. Should be okay.
Yeah, obviously, hopefully he can figure it out. And it's not like at the last second. By the way, now we're doing this instead of what I told you before.
I mean, that's already kind of what happened.
Which, that does happen a lot. I mean, it's, can't always prevent that.
No, you can't. This is a bad time to get married. Bad time to do anything where people have to gather.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know why they're able to do it in Montana instead of Oregon. I don't know why the rules are different.
Well, because it's on a state level that they get to choose that stuff.
Oh, okay.
So our governor has said, these are the rules, and Montana's governor might not have said anything, so.
There's a virus?
Right? And that might be the case over there.
I don't know. I've never been to Montana.
It's a nice country over there. There's a lot of nice places in Montana.
There really isn't much in Montana, is there?
No, Montana is a pretty sparsely populated state, I think. I didn't realize how sparsely populated Wyoming was until I told Caitlin, because she said something about Cheyenne, and I was like, Cheyenne's a pretty big city. I was like, there's like 60,000 people here. She was like, yeah, but that's the biggest city in the whole state. I was like, no, it sure is.
Yeah.
60,000 people in the city is the biggest city in the state.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind moving to Wyoming.
It's just ugly there.
Really?
There's just no trees.
I
It's
didn't
just
know
all friggin', it's like all like flat plains, grassland.
There's no mountains at all?
Not really. I mean, there's mountains there, but not like here. Not like
Right.
these mountains, I mean, there might be in some places, but nowhere I've been there. And I've been from one side to the other.
Yeah,
So
so you've basically been all over the place.
Yeah.
I think Denver's got that mountain range, but
I think you'd have to go, if I was going to live somewhere over there, actually, I would go, one spot it does have nice mountains is in like the northwest corner,
okay.
like the opposite corner of Cheyenne, because that's closer to like Yellowstone.
Oh,
up
yeah.
There. So there's a lot of nice spots up there.
I'd like to go to Yellowstone. I've never been there.
I've driven through just like corners of it, just driving back and forth to work, and some super nice spots.
Yeah, I'm sure it's absolutely beautiful. Gotta be.
It's just because it's all pine trees.
Yeah. It's the trees I like.
Pine trees are the best, yeah.
Leafy trees are stupid.
Well, they all, just in the wintertime, it just looks so sad. Like,
Yeah.
when I lived in Michigan, it's only leaf trees. So, like, in the spring, when the foliage is full,
Yeah, it looks
couldn't even
cool.
tell you had neighbors. But in the winter, you're just like, dang, there's houses all around me,
Yeah.
but because all the leaves fall off. Leaf trees make better lumber, though.
Yeah. Make worse firewood.
Well, back east, because like how we burn tamarack over here, they burn oak, I think, which is a hard wood.
Is it?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I think so. I think that's what they burn.
Yeah, I think tamarack is considered a softwood.
Tamarack is considered a softwood because any pine trees are considered soft.
Huh. I can't, yeah, there's some tree, I can't remember. It's like, the density is like 4 or 5 times as dense as the tamarack is.
There's some tree, yeah,
It's
that's
like
like,
an iron tree or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, there is a, yeah. Because I remember looking, because I thought, I want to see how on
Yeah,
the
I think
hardness
you
scale.
looked it up.
Yeah,
That's right.
I wanted to see on the hardness scale, you know, because like around here, that's what we're told is like a good hardwood to burn. But any coniferous trees are soft, considered soft.
Well, a tamarack I don't think is considered a pine tree because it loses its needles.
It's still a coniferous tree, though, right?
I don't think so.
Well, it's not a.
I know, but it's
deciduous.
I think it is considered deciduous because it loses its needles. Because it's like one of the only ones that does that.
But it spreads by dropping pine cones, right? By dropping cones,
Yeah.
that's how it spreads. So then it's probably still considered coniferous, because a deciduous spreads by growing its roots and putting out shoots,
Only
right?
a couple. Like maple trees have seeds, so do oak trees. Like that's where your
Aren't those
acorns-
the only two classifications of tree, though? Coniferous and deciduous?
Yeah, basically all it means is one keeps its needles, one loses its stuff.
Oh.
That's basically the only difference.
I'd be curious then, because
I
a
think it
tamarack
is-
does walk a fine line, because that's a tamarack right there, and it has lost almost all its needles now. I'd be curious then. I just assumed that anything with pine needles was a coniferous, and anything with leaves was a deciduous.
A tamarack might be a special case.
I'd be curious.
I think there are a couple other varieties that do that too, but it's pretty rare.
Right.
It's not common.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not very many pine trees that. That's why they're usually evergreen, because they always have their needles.
Oh yeah, because it actually saves water that way, not losing them.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to regrow them again.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And we actually, for work there, we do stuff called like anti-desiccant sprays, which like seal in the moisture better. Which like is
Interesting.
kind of necessary where we live, just because it's freaking so dry.
Yeah, I don't understand over by Denver. People are like, it's so beautiful. I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah, I'm like, what is beautiful about this?
I've gotten in a many argument with people. I'm like, dude, it's so pretty, and I'm like, what do you mean the trees that look like they're gonna die?
Yeah.
And you mean the undergrowth that is freaking cactuses? What are you talking about?
I mean, it's like there's parts of it that are nice around there, like up at Winter Park, where it's high up,
Yeah.
and so the moisture is a lot higher, and the trees are much more dense. But other than that, I can't
The
figure it
pine
out.
trees look sickly to me.
And they're so sparse.
Yeah.
They're so far apart because they can't grow close. They'll suck up all the freaking nutrients from each other.
I mean, like some of the aspens look nice,
Yeah.
but that's really it. I haven't really been that impressed.
I don't know, man. There's not a lot of other areas other than like around here that I would want to live. Although because Caitlin asked me, well, if you could pick somewhere else to live, where would your perfect place be? And it's definitely in Bonners Ferry, Idaho.
Really?
Yeah. You ever been up
I
there?
don't think so.
Oh my gosh, it's so nice up there. Because it's like big mountains like that, but they surround like this valley of farmland at the
Okay.
bottom.
So
with
kinda-
a river running through it.
So kind of like the way Cove is.
Kinda, yeah. But more, the mountains are closer together.
Okay, so it's not as big of a valley.
No, it's like surrounded perfectly by mountains, pretty close together, which is what makes it kind of cool. And then down in the valley, they follow all the farmland follows the river.
Right.
So it's so, and the trees are like that too. They're dense trees, you know, like up on the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
That it's so nice up there. Every time I go up there, I'm like, I want to move here. But of course, it's like anything right now, and it's incredibly expensive.
Yeah, everything's expensive.
Yeah, it used to be cheap. Like several years ago, I was looking at property up there, and it was not bad. And now it's probably tripled in price
Jeez.
since then. Yeah,
Holy cow.
it's ridiculous.
How's that even possible?
I don't know, man. Although I think the market is stabilizing right now and actually trending the other way currently. At least some email I got the other day was saying that.
Is it because all the people are leaving LA and going to other places?
I don't know.
Goddamn
That would-
Joe Rogan.
That would kind of keep the market high, wouldn't it? Because
Yeah.
it would be a high demand.
Well, that's what I mean. That's like what drove all the prices up in the first place.
Right, yeah.
Supposedly, tons of people are flocking to Texas now because of Joe.
Why?
Because he moved to Texas.
Yeah, but so? It's just weird that, yeah, other people are like, I'm going to do exactly what Joe Rogan does. Like,
I don't know. He has some stalwart supporters, dude.
I guess that's what happens, yeah, when you have millions and millions of people who watch your show every day.
Yeah, every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to be a big fan of his too. I can't lie. It's been months since I've listened to an episode.
My favorite episodes, though, are where he just has, like Bill Burr or,
Yeah,
like,
Bill
Duncan
Burr's great.
Trussell
Duncan
or
Trussell's also good.
someone he just, like, shoots the shit with. I actually don't really like when he has, like, specialists on and he mostly just questions them about what their specialty is. I don't actually like those episodes very much because I'm like, no, I listen to his podcast to get to know, like, you know, whether it be Bill Burr or Duncan Trussell, like, just hear what they have to say in general and not necessarily, ooh, I'm a doctor of kinesiology and that's my specialty. It's like, well, I could read all the blog posts you made about this. I don't need to listen to you for 3 hours on Joe Rogan
Yeah,
talk
I
about
mean,
it.
sometimes it's interesting to listen about nutrition, even though it seems like everybody seems to contradict each other, which makes no sense. to me.
100%, yeah. 100% contradictory.
Yeah.
I'm actually over the whole nutrition thing. I'm like, it's very simple, you know, exercise, don't eat too much sugar, don't drink soda. Like,
Yeah.
probably shouldn't drink these either, but you know what? You only live once, so.
Yeah. The world's coming to an end anyway, I feel like.
Oh my gosh. In a hurry.
Yeah. It's just like progressively just getting worse and worse and worse.
I hope we're coming to some turning point, is what I hope. Like,
Yeah, it's going to turn this way.
well, I'm hoping we're already this way, and I hope at some point it's going to be like, nope, just kidding, it's getting better now.
I don't know.
I don't either, but I hope that's what's happening. I feel like every generation could have said that, though.
True.
I guess at least we're not like at war or something, like some generations. We were talking about that the other day, that certain generations, like our great-grandparents, literally freaking World War I and World War II. Like, there were people who lived through
Yeah.
both of those wars, you know? Like, and we think we have it shitty. It's like, and it would be shitty even if you lived in America during those. But can you imagine living like in Europe during those, where
No.
literally just bombs falling every goddamn day? Like,
Not really. I can't imagine what that would be like.
no. No one in America can, because America has never truly really been war-torn like Europe has. Europe pretty much gets torn up in every war.
Yeah, it's like the epicenter of all of it,
Mm-hmm.
both times, and throughout history.
Exactly. Yeah, and that doesn't even include like the Middle East, where they're always just fighting with each other all the time,
Yeah, and Russia.
which is just unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't know enough to even talk about the Middle East.
Same. And I don't want to speculate, but
Here I go anyway.
yeah,
Just kidding.
yeah, I don't really want to speculate, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I don't know. What do you think? You think? I don't even know how long we've been going. 44 minutes. It looks like.
How can you see that? Oh, okay, I see it on there.
Right on the display. And
I think I
actually,
need glasses, dude.
oh man, the battery's about to run out on that.
Maybe
thing.
we should call it.
Yeah, we could probably call it. I mean,
What are we gonna do next time, Ryan?
I don't know. You finished any books?
I finished The Rivals, and I have about 30 minutes left on the Sleepy Hollow.
I haven't done either of those. I
What?
tried.
You picked them.
I know. I tried listening to Sleepy Hollow on this plane ride home,
What the?
and I just couldn't. So I can finish them though. I can listen to them.
All right. Okay.
So that's what we're gonna
You
do.
bring it up an interesting point, and you really, I really want to talk about it, but we can't. So yeah. So next time, come in for a double feature of some two audible. Not they're not originals. They're like they're selection of books that we picked 2 more, so we're kind of like perusing through. And I was actually like looking at all of them, and we've done most of them, which is crazy. Of like actually all the free available ones.
Oh,
we've
really?
done a lot of them. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Because I was perusing it just to look for some other stuff to listen to, and we've listened to a good chunk of it, which is kind of interesting.
That is interesting. So yeah, that's the plan, and at some point we're gonna wrap up Anime Squires. Don't know when that's gonna be.
Yeah.
Our plans kind of got shot in the foot because
Yeah.
we were having a recording issues and stuff like that. So
Yeah, we really wanted to do a guest, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
yeah, so if that part falls through, we might just have to go ahead and wrap it up.
Which, I mean, me and Ryan will be fine, but I just wanted to do something a little extra fun. But that's okay. Maybe in the future. And if anybody was like, man, I'd really like to be a guest on this show, hit us up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, send us an email at kotpl.pod@gmail.com and be like, this is why I should be a guest on your show, you dumb pieces of shit.
And we will promptly delete it.
Yeah, we're like, garbage can.
Yeah.
No, I don't want this guy.
But yeah, so thank you anyone and everyone for listening, and we
Yeah.
hope to catch you guys in the next one.
Yeah.